5. This is, again, the Sumerian star was an 8-pointed star, as they call it, or basically some Aryans were using the 8-pointed cycle of Venus. And then you see the apple, which this is completely encoded, because if you don't know apples are pentagrams, then you're just like, oh, is that just like an apple in the middle of a wheel? You see why the profane and the ones who do not spend their time in study cannot comprehend the ancient knowledge anyway? And even if they got a hold of something of power, which they will not, then it will only be used to corrupt things further. Do you not see that the ultimate power of pureness becomes also the ultimate weapon if it's abused? See, this is another thing that people refuse to address. When one activates and turns on massive energy, what is going to stop them from becoming another weapon? Because Mars, aka Samael, as you notice in the movie Total Recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger says, I don't want to know about Saturn. I want to go to Mars. Check the movie out again, and then you'll understand the Martian culture and the warlike culture. And you see, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger's connection to Nazism and the perfect body and the perfect man, or what we'll talk about later, which is the gold man coming from the sky, like the guy jumping out the Red Bull plane, ushering in a new age of man with their leader Cronus behind them. See, they act like people don't really understand what's going on, but there are some, and that's all it really took anyway, meaning that the whole collaboration of what we are is still within the focal point of each one of us. It's just about which one of us activate that focal point of potential. It then cause the chain reaction with others that are simple and just like us, meaning that the knowledge is simple. Once you really start to see the key, you can back off all this thing and say the key is happiness within. The key is actually feeling happy with myself and my experiences here on earth, that there's no regrets. And now I easily lay down my life because I consider it as no account, meaning that I've actually gone over this. I triumph earth completely, and I will assist others in accomplishing that same thing. You see, that's all these scriptures mean. But when in the hands of the pagan and the Megan people, Pa and Ma people, still thinking the duality, it's the mother, it's the father. When in the hands of them, the knowledge and the creation of light, these opposite poles, which is the white and the black, now we have a situation. So understand that you fell from the ladder. The DNA, 94% of the DNA is shattered. The information is like when they bring back the Dead Sea Scrolls and they show you how many pieces were missing and they interpret it. What was said in between? If you ever read the Dead Sea Scrolls, you'll notice it always seems to drop off at the most important point. But anyway, it's a ladder, the DNA, that we must climb again. We must rebuild the ladder, or our connection with the Most High. The Most High is our oversoul. It is us. But here's what's happening. Without 94% of the DNA, you cannot really interact with certain spectrums which give you the full realization that you are the Most High. All is self. Meaning in the highest state of you in full totality, there's no one to talk to because there's no one listening. There's nothing outside. Everything is inside. You encompass all things. Vast. No one can trek you. Like your depth is unfathomable. This was what we left when we left the garden. But remember, in the garden, there was other trees. Some people need to ask themselves, well, okay, let's just go with the serpent reptilian creation thing. How did they get in the garden? They were already in there. That's what people need to understand. It's the trees. Whispering willows. So what happens is, in taking in the knowledge, we got to a point, and this is, you speak as we when you take responsibility, we got to a point where the tree obviously was collapsing. This is even what's happening today when if the children are not taken care of properly, surely they're brilliant, but that becomes the ultimate weapon when they're not taken care of. You have all these children that are mutilating themselves. Understand, this is not a black and white thing. This is everyone's getting it. The white kids, for better lack of words, are mutilating themselves after watching too much MTV, pouring salt all on their hands and the ice and burning themselves and all sorts of stuff that they're being instructed to do, right? And then the black children with the melanin, melanin is from the sun, so everything magnetizes to what they do. So they're up there rapping and singing about leading us all to the dark places, period. That's all you hear coming out of their mouth. And everyone is following it because they have an incessant idea in their mind of following the sun. Then you have the Indians out there, or the Hindus, and they set up an entire Bollywood for them. And all the movies are just foolish. It's like Mr. Bean times 5 foolishness. And then you check on your Oriental citizens, it's Gangnam Style. What is going on? It's because everyone is under attack. When you see the attack of the one who's carrying the blue shield, notice there's always a different color hexagram. That's the other thing, or this Megan star. It's either light blue, like baby blue, sometimes it's red, sometimes it's black, and that all means something. Because there's 7 colors in the spectrum, then white and black, and that makes 9. That pretty much encompasses the entire dimension. That's it, no more. So what happens is that those who are welding those stars, and you see them moving around and attacking, they're not just attacking one small group of people, they're attacking consciousness. Because consciousness, I talk to people daily, and they're like, man, the whole war thing's got me bummed out. It affects people. So that's when we kick in. We get the call. Hey, malignant Dajjal in the dimension, go ahead and do what you need to do. Done. Again, these Anunnaki, Birdmen, or what's behind these cabals and religions, or what they're calling God, are not creators. They're only evolvers. So let's just get that clear. They're evolvers. They change and manipulate DNA to create more Frankensteins. In the inception of the Kabbalah, meaning that the whole birth of the Homunculus, or the golden lotus, which is the ancient knowledge of man's womb, he can first bring forth an entity into the spiritual world, because everything starts in the spiritual world first. It's a higher vibration, higher wavelength of light, etc. But it happens there first. And that's the secret to predicting things on Earth, is an angel can ascend into higher layers of the timeline and pull things back and then descend back into this dimension and predict them going to happen and give it to adherents before it actually occurs here. Because what is done on Earth is actually done in heaven. Now, they have these people actually praying that what is done on Earth and what is done in heaven is also done on Earth, speeding up processes of manifestations that Kabbalistic individuals are cooking up, meaning that the whole art of this dark Kabbalistic teaching is very similar to PlayStation for a dark mind. And that's really also what most of the games on PlayStation really has going on. But what they could do and what they can do is they have words that they can pronounce that come out like seeds. Let me publish this image and show you a seed of Kabbalah. So when the tones and the vibrations come out, it puts out a seed into this astral plane. And depending upon the strength of that seed and the will of the one pronouncing it, that seed will actually begin to grow.